Welcome
Hi,
back to my
everyone.
podcast. We are here just in conversation, and it was such a great conversation that we were having off the air that we decided to hit record and make this an amazing podcast because the conversation was so interesting in a sense that we knew we're not the only ones going through this dynamic. So,
Yeah.
so those that are new, this is Eva, Kasha, and this is the Permission Granted podcast, and we're going to go into just the conversation that we were going to have, and this is how it's going to be. We're just going to riff off,
Yeah.
off the topic, and this is where we are. So let's introduce into the topic, Kasha.
Yeah. We were just talking about routines and going through the motions and formulas. And a little while ago, I wrote this article that I titled Rage Against the Formula. And I think that's actually like the perfect title for this conversation that we were having, because I don't know about you, but if you've ever felt yourself like someone said, oh, try this, do this routine. If you just do these steps, then you'll get what you want. And so you're like going along, doing the steps, journaling, or, eating a certain way, and you're going through the motions. But then after a while, you're like, okay, so what's happening? I'm not getting what I want. I feel like crap doing this. I'm showing up for this work, working really hard, but like nothing's happening. And have you ever thought something must be wrong with me?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to say nothing's wrong with you. There's something wrong with what you're doing and the formula that you've been given.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely fallen in that trap. And
oh
it's
my
like
God.
tossing
Yeah.
energy or tossing money at some magical solution that you think is going to like save you from whatever's happening in your life that you don't like. But that is the wrong approach. and
Yeah,
so, yeah,
and
that's
we also feel like we have to like kind of co-sign and sign up for all the things.
Mhm.
Like everyone's like best smoothie, like morning routines and rituals. Like do I use sage? Do I put crystals in my bra? Like do I light incense? Like do I buy all the candles? Like, do I meditate? Like, how do I meditate? Like, is there one specific way to meditate? When it comes to exercise, do I lift weights? Do I do CrossFit? Is yoga the best thing? Like, and I feel like it's going to sound cliche, but permission granted for us to know that this is a journey and we have the permission to explore all the different facets when it comes to rituals and routines and doing things for soul care, self-care, heart care, and to pick those that are icky, don't feel good, have not given us great results. We don't see us being in a better place from doing them, but given the permission to know that we can let that go and then really start creating like a little toolbox of sorts of the things that are effective, that you've
Mhm.
seen results, that do light you up, and you're doing it in a specific way that's not geared and cookie cutter to how everyone else is doing. Like a routine can be anything that you do during the course of the day. It doesn't have to be first thing in the morning. Like there's this whole big thing with the 5 a.m. club. Like if you get up at 5 a.m. in the morning, you're ahead of the curve on everybody. Not if you're a mom and you just fucking fell asleep at 3 in the morning because your kid had you up for 3 hours because you were
Exactly.
breastfeeding. Like that doesn't fall under your criteria. Permission
Mhm.
granted to let that go. Or, doing yoga is the only way that you can get flexibility in your body. Not the case.
Mhm.
Like we need to know that we can experiment and be excited to know what things are working and what isn't working and still
Yeah.
continue that pattern of exploring. Has that been the
Yeah.
case for you?
Totally. And I've fallen, I'm going to say victim to following other people's formulas because I wanted the results that they had.
Yeah.
And since, learning better, I realized that anything that we want to achieve, like any goal we want to achieve is because it gives us a certain feeling.
Mhm.
Right? Like I might want to earn X amount, or I might want to have X amount of clients, or go on this trip to wherever, or get my body really healthy and toned because I think it'll help me feel a certain way. And so I've done routines, I've done the formulas, like I've followed steps that some worked, some didn't. But I think the common denominator of when something works is the energy with which we approach the thing and the clarity of the outcome that it's going to give us and how we're going to feel. right? Because let's just say health, right? You want to be healthy and strong and lean and all of that, but you hate doing the exercise every morning.
Yeah.
If you're not feeling good on the way there, right? What makes you think you're going to ever get to that feeling good place by like flogging yourself and pushing yourself and making it happen in a way that doesn't feel good? Like it just doesn't add up for me.
Yeah.
But we've all been so conditioned to, work hard and put in the effort and push through it and stuff. And I call bullshit.
Yeah, the hustle of it all. Like, hustle
Totally.
is not the only way for you
No,
to get results.
no.
That is definitely a good derailment of exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
You will burn out.
Mm-hmm.
You will be very, how can I say, it'll put you in a place of being very, what's the word that I'm looking for?
Resentful.
Yeah, resentful. You'll be like in your worst space ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like your energy will never feel great. You will always feel like like this, oh, like it's just another thing to do on your list. It's just like
Yeah,
another thing that you have to tackle, and it sucks the joy out of it in all
exactly.
areas because it trickles into every area. Because what you do in your personal definitely shows up in your business or
Mm-hmm.
in your career. Because you
Yeah,
can't separate yourself. You're
it's
one
this
person showing up to all the things.
exactly, and it's like this old model of sacrifice now and you'll have joy later. And again, I call bullshit. Life doesn't work that way. It doesn't
No.
mean you always have joy in every moment. And sometimes, yeah, you got to do things you don't like. You might not always like the exercise you're doing. However, if you do exercise with joy as often as you can, chances are you'll get to that healthy body faster and easier, and you'll enjoy the process more. So you're not going to be chasing this carrot on a stick.
Exactly. Exactly. And
So,
especially for us as women and for us that are moms as well, there's always, like you said, that's the perfect thing. We must sacrifice now for the benefit of what we're going to have later. And at the end of the day, what you're going to have later is one fucking exhausted, pissed off lady.
exactly. Yep. Yep.
So that's basically where you're gonna be. You're gonna be like this really angry lady, like being, spitting fire at all the things. And would it have been worth it? No. Like we really need to stop and hit pause and learn to accept and look for little pockets of joy in everything that
Mm-hmm.
we're doing. And if
Yeah.
it's not bringing us any pockets of joy, then we have to have the permission granted to know that we need to toss that out and keep it moving forward and find something else
Yeah.
in the journey of exploring what brings us joy.
Mm-hmm. And the truth is the world won't fall apart if you don't do the routine that you've
No.
been doing for the last however long.
Yeah, perfect example for me. I was just saying off the air that journaling was something for me that I felt like, oh, I have to do this every day. And I have to have a gratitude list every day. And I was doing it just to check it off
Yeah.
the list. And I was feeling the joy of it. And not to say that a gratitude list is ineffective, but I'm the type of person that if I don't necessarily write it down, that doesn't mean I'm not looking for those pockets of joy that
Right.
have gratitude in them.
Mm-hmm.
Where I am grateful for when I wake up in the morning, I'm grateful my eyes opened. I'm grateful that I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to move my body. I'm grateful that I'm able to partake in a certain meal or that I'm going to be with certain people. So the gratitude is there, but just because I'm not doing the practice of writing it down in a journal doesn't take away the feeling that the gratitude is there. So if that
Exactly.
makes any sense, permission granted to show up and do it in a way that works for you and not how everyone else is presenting it to you that it should look and it should feel and you should do it this particular way. There's a
Yeah.
thousand and one ways to do the same thing and
Mm-hmm.
get, the same reaction, the same type of joy, but you have the permission to find the right balance of, like you said, our perfect formula that's specific for us.
Mm-hmm.
Not one size fits all.
And it's very much like for me, it's very much feeling driven. And I have the type of personality that doesn't necessarily love routine. So I need like a buffet of things that I can pick and choose a routine almost sometimes on a daily basis, because otherwise I get bored and then I stop doing it altogether. And then I get mad at myself. And if I want to have fun in my life. Like that's one thing I'm working on right now, is having more fun, because I tend to just be way too serious. And so fun isn't natural for me. And so how much fun is it to do the same thing all the time? It's not.
Yeah, it's not
Right.
at all.
And when we look at little kids, they will play with a box, or they will play with a ball for hours, and then they'll ignore it, and they'll go on to something else. And it's like they just follow their bliss. They follow what feels good. And we tend to, as kids go through school and stuff, we tend to like try to get them to conform, to follow formulas. And again, we're not going to get into a discussion about our education system, but it's like, this
that's
starts
a whole different podcast.
Totally. This starts, it didn't start at 42 for me. It started when I was way younger. And so now I'm like unlearning seriousness. Doesn't mean I'm becoming irresponsible, but I'm learning fun through choosing what makes me feel good, and making fun the routine.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than something else. And so whatever, like, permission granted to choose. Make yourself sit down and make a list of like, these are all the things that I love to do. What if I just did more of those throughout the day? What would my day feel like, look like? And chances are you will actually still achieve all the things that matter to you, that are important, but you'll have more joy doing it. So it's not that formulas are wrong or bad. They're not. It's the energy that we bring to those formulas that we follow.
And it's almost like with that list that you create, you can also create in the same list, like, what are the things that you're looking forward to start unlearning based on what society has put on us. And it's almost like we have to go back into a child's mind, of that child mentality of not having those limitations, not having those fears, not having those judgments and those expectations that we carry on our shoulders, that are such huge burdens, that we forget to be joyful as when we were children, where we didn't have those expectations and those demands and society telling us to be a specific way. We just were.
Yeah.
So under those conditions, just really getting excited on what is it actually that you really need to start unpacking and unlearning, to create those pockets of joy, to bring fun back, and to really have that playful sense of being like when we were children, where we weren't stopped being who we were. And then all of a sudden, like you said, once we got into that whole educational situation, then the demands of being a certain way, being proper, doing this, how we show up, how we present ourselves, like, that could be a whole other conversation too, but
I'm sure we'll have that one too.
it just feels so much lighter knowing that you don't have to follow everything, everyone's everything else.
Exactly. And as an adult, like, you get to choose. Most adults have that sovereign ability to choose what we do every day, what we eat every day. You don't have someone standing over you telling you to eat your broccoli or your peas, or you can't get up off the table, right? Like,
and if you don't want the broccoli, fuck it. Don't eat it.
Eat the cookies, right? Whatever. But again,
have the loaf of bread.
Radical honesty with yourself counts. Right.
Absolutely.
And that discernment of, am I doing this just to go through the motions and tick it off a list because I think it'll get me something? Or am I doing this because, like, I don't care if it gets me something, but I love it. It brings me joy to do it. And that, I think, sometimes it's a really fine line. But
being conscious what we put on our plate. Like, we're treating life and what we do and how we show up like all you can eat buffet, and we're acting like we're going to the electric chair and life is ending today. Like, wow, right? Like, we're going for all the desserts, we're going for the salad bar, we're going for the meat bar, we're doing like the seafood, like we want to get all the crab legs in. Like, at what point, at what capacity are you going to be enough and full to know that you don't need anymore?
Right.
A whole other topic too.
Oh my gosh, I know. But it's, all of our topics kind of boil down to like discernment and radical honesty and listening to yourself and being aware and following what makes you feel good. And it's so simple, and yet it's not always easy.
Yeah, like, what's your North Star? What's that driving point for you? And then focusing around that. And knowing that it's your choice, your personal choice to make. No one is in any position to make any choices for you. And like you said, as a grown-ass adult, no one gets to dictate to you what that should look like.
Exactly.
And we shouldn't have to feel like we need to have someone else tell us what it should look like too.
Right.
Because I know I've fallen guilty to that
Yeah.
many times, where I feel like someone else has to tell me what I need to do next.
Yeah.
Not the case.
No, and it's fine to like read and educate yourself and, you know, consider other people, like if you live with a family member, or
Yeah.
we're not saying like throw everything out the window, but we're saying put yourself in the equation. Like be the driving force of the formula, and do what you love, what lights you up, what makes you feel happy. Do it for yourself, not because you have to, not because you think it'll fix something. You can't throw enough energy or money or anything at a solution to save you from anything.
Yeah.
You gotta co-create it. So anytime, I've definitely learned this the hard way, that when I try to throw money at something or energy, and I end up investing over my head or being burnt out, and the thing still doesn't bring me the results, and I'm like, well, that was an expensive lesson.
Yeah.
You know?
Sometimes it just wasn't meant to be.
No.
It wasn't our situation for us to experience.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that it's never going to happen for us. It probably meant that right then at that moment, that's why all the things were not clicking.
Exactly.
No matter how much effort you put into it, no matter how much money you threw at it, and you're still seeing zero results, it's because it wasn't meant for you at that particular moment.
Right.
It doesn't mean you give up and you don't continue trying, but you have to like put that away for now and find something else. And then if that happens to come into play again, you've already, you know, have the tools and resources that you need, so that maybe when you do continue and implement, and the flow feels ease and it feels like it's in alignment, because that's another, you know, the alignment of it all.
Yeah.
Then it might just happen.
And again, what I've learned from experience is the more I follow the fun or the joy or the, you know, excitement or the curiosity, the less I go on these detours, what I would seem as a detour that take me further away from what I want. My joy, my fun, they actually bring me closer. And it sometimes doesn't even look like what I thought it would look.
And that's the fun part, that when you go exploring and you find these things that you would have never thought you would have found, and the experiences, that's exciting, because you're going in with this intention, but it's coming out with something else. And then that something else is definitely, like you said, not what you expected, but it's great.
And it's,
if not better.
Yeah, exactly. Way better, because the universe just, I don't know, the universe just knows us so much better than sometimes we know ourselves.
I know, and we take it for granted that it's there for our benefit. We just assume that it's not. Like, we have to work so hard to be in alignment with it. And like you said, it's so simple, but so difficult for us to put into action, because we feel like we have to do like all the things at the same time. So
permission granted to rage against the formula and follow your bliss.
Exactly, and follow your bliss and find joy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little episode here. We just wanted to jump on here and put it all together for you guys. Feel free to hit subscribe, share this with, you know, a friend, send them the link in an email, text it to someone if you feel like this conversation could really serve someone in your life that might be going through a particular situation where you think, you know what, this is probably the little sermon that they need to hear for the day. But at the end of the day, we thank you for being here. Look forward to serving you on the next episode. And for now, have a great day, guys.
Yeah, and if you've had your own experience of raging against a formula and finding success in it, we'd love to hear your story. So definitely put it in the comments.
Yeah.
Message us. We'd love to have a conversation.
Awesome. Take care, guys. Till the next one.